Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 405. I'm Brando, and here with Ryan, and today we're going to revisit Revisiting Planes. Now, hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan, we're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What is going down?
Whole ton's going down again. Again, we're back in the same clothes, in the same place, at the same time, an hour after we recorded yesterday's show. We did the big announcement. We thanked some people. We told some stories. Today, we're going to do it all again. But before we get to any of that, we have to thank our official business daddies, FusionGamingOnline.com, your source for all your gaming needs, and the official sponsor of Season Deuce of Sidewalk Slam, Pile of Bones Brewing. They are the second best thing to come out of Regina.
Next to our friend Keel.
Correct.
Who said we are too kind.
Aww.
And we should stop being so kind to him.
Yeah,
If he thinks we're too kind, we should stop being kind.
Man, you know what he did? You know what he did? He sent me a picture of his collector boosty box of Ixalan
Oh, yeah?
and like a crazy looking knife.
Oh.
And he's like, who do you think's going to get wrecked more? And I'm like, me? Obviously me. And then he sent me like a picture with all of his rares and stuff.
The knife stuck in his head.
Man, did he ever... He got a fucking good box, dude.
Did he?
He got like all the stuff I wanted. Then I opened mine thinking, oh, this is going to be totally good. Like these boxes are rad.
Yeah.
17 basic lands from Jurassic Park.
How many is that
in
good?
24 packs.
Is that good?
No.
Oh.
No. Across all the packs I opened of Jurassic Park, there's more than 24, but let's call it 30. I opened 30 collector packs, okay?
Sure.
I ended up with 17 basic lands, 4 command towers.
Well, is that good?
No.
Oh.
That means I ended up with like 9 actual Jurassic Park cards.
Oh.
That means 17 times when I opened up a 30 Canadian dollar booster pack, I opened 2 basic lands in it.
Is that good?
No. No. It's not good. Ugh.
So what you're saying is you got the worst box out of the way.
Absolutely. 2 of them.
Oh,
You guys are all welcome.
So when you go to FusionGamingOnline.com and order some Lost Caverns of Ixalan collector packs or boosters and use CCO Summer promo code to get a discount,
I've opened the worst ones already.
You're going to get better stuff than Uncle Brando.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you've seen the Brando's box opening on the Commander Cookout YouTube channel already because we're recording this far in advance.
Yes.
And if you're spending over $100 like you will on a collector booster, if it's your first time using that code or this code, CCO Perks, you're going to get 10% kickback in-store credit onto your Fusion account that you can then use with CCO Summer promo code again to get further discounts.
And here's some math. Here's some math for you guys. If you do that situation that Ryan just talked about, you can then use the kickback because it's enough to get most of the singles that you didn't open in your box.
Yeah, singles prices have gone down,
which is great.
Yeah.
I always sound like I'm complaining so much because my boxes aren't worth anything and none of these cards are worth shit. But you know what? As much as that sucks for like trying to turn a box into another box sometimes, which is what I do with my singles, full disclosure, I don't pay money for these boxes. I pay store credit for them.
Yep.
And I trade my cards back in to get more so I can keep doing this.
Uncle Brando's putting the work in for your entertainment.
I am, and I'm getting bad boxes out of the way too. Ooh, right? But the fact is, I'm glad that singles have so little value. Like we talked about it yesterday with the Doctor Who decks. I'm so happy that you can just go and buy basically whatever you want. Unless it's Everybody Lives or Displaced Dinosaurs, every card is cheap.
Yes.
Right? And I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that with sets like Ixalan, unless you're going for the high-end premium shit, the single prices are very reasonable, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I just did an order from Fusion, used CCO Summer promo code to save 5% on my order. I got vehicle cards from Warhammer 40K, from Doctor Who, and dinosaur cards from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, all in the same order for my dinosaurs driving vehicles deck that I'm building.
Did you get vehicles from Ixalan? Lots of boats.
Oh yeah, I got a boat, both for playing and another one for painting, and I got that runaway like mine cart.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I got that one too, and I got a clown car, and I got some Lord of the Rings cards for going to my new Gwai here and Gandalf deck. I got lots of stuff.
Neat.
I got lots of new deck builds on the go. Inspired a little bit by CCO Nation wanting to help with the community Calamax build in our Discord again. And, of course, Dinosaurs with our revisit to Ixalan.
Yeah.
Which...
This is kind of what inspired this episode?
Yeah, very much inspired this episode. We're going to talk about that in a minute. If you want to get into the Discord, you become a patron over at patreon.com/CCO Podcast. Sorry. Still recovering. And you get in with the community. You help us pick decks for Sidewalk Slam, where you can see us play these decks that we talk about so much. And you can become part of the best community in Magic.
Not close. They're the most 7 out of 10 people you'll ever meet.
One of my favorite things in real life is when, and the last person who did it was Lenny. Lenny is our good friend that we met through the cast, who is part of CCO Nation on the Discord and at events that we go to. He's come to our country to spend time with us.
Yeah. I love that guy.
And he says something like this on Twitter, or when people say something like this at a Magic Fest, they say something like, I know that you guys say it and everybody says it, but I'm so happy that I found CCO Nation and Commander Cookout because everybody in this community really is the fucking best.
See?
So if you want to be part of that, Patreon is a great way because you get access to the Discord and also you get an invite to the CCO experience, which is coming up in Chicago.
And if you're going to be in Chicago and you're going to be at the event, even if you're not part of one of the houses, you can certainly stop by the official content creator area where you will see ya boys. That's Ryan and myself, as we have been given a pass this year.
There you go.
Because Watsy's smartening up.
I guess so.
They're classing up the joint. Yeah. Instead of stinking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if you're not part of the house, of course, we're going to have our own Commander Cookout area at the event. A bunch of tables usually where sometimes we drink some beer, sometimes we have some food, sometimes we just play games all day and talk about all of the expensive stuff that we buy.
Yeah.
And we play the game like, who spent the most money today? That's my favorite game at Magic Cons, man.
And then you just see somebody just dejected. I bought boxes instead of singles.
Yeah. Oh, frick. Or I bought a plate test card or whatever it is, right? I love that game, and there's already been talk because there's 10 or 12 of us in the house.
Hell yeah!
And there's a bunch of people that are like, hey, I'm going to be there. It's me and my buddies. We rented out 3 hotel rooms, or we have our own house. Like, dozens and dozens of people have been like, what? How do we be involved? What do we do? And probably we're just going to meet up at the convention center, and anybody who knows anything about Chicago anywhere is going to say, pizza that way, or sushi this way, or there's a liquor store that way, and we'll just go.
Yeah.
There's not really a hard and fast plan this time, because we're so kind of
disparate, or whatever the word is.
Dispersed.
There's the word.
There it is. Yeah. And maybe this will be a little bit of a learning experience when we're dispersed as much as we are this time. Maybe there'll need to be a hard and fast plan, but I want to keep it loose. I want to keep it stress-free for everybody, just to come and go as they please, and for myself, so I don't have to frickin' plan like a meetup or a restaurant booking or like a banquet room somewhere because there's like 30 people. I just want everybody to come together and play Magic because that's what we're there to do.
And see a shit fountain and also eat pizza. Those are 2 things I have to do in Chicago.
I'm sure there will be quite a lot of pizza eating.
I definitely want to try Chicago-style pizza. And then when we inevitably go to New York, I'm going to be disappointed in New York-style pizza.
Yes.
Because everybody tells me that New York-style pizza, while tasty, is flimsy. And I'm not into flimsy pizza. It's not my thing.
like lots of flimsy stuff.
Sure.
Sure.
Pizza?
I mean, no kink-shaming in the nation.
Like, I don't know, you have to fold it in half just so it doesn't like fall down.
Well, think you could put other stuff in there. It becomes like a vehicle for other foods as well.
Eat a nacho.
Oh, good nacho pizza.
Right?
Nacho New York pizza,
Get a nacho. They're even the same shape.
You know what? Yeah.
And you dip them in all the same stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Going back to the Magic Con real quick. You know what I really have enjoyed the last 2 or 3 cons I've went to?
Tell me.
I've enjoyed sitting down at the grandstand and watching the cosplay contest.
That is fun. I like that.
You know what? Just to see the work that people put in and how happy they get when they win or to be on stage, and just like when they talk about what they make and they add like character to their answers. And you could sit and have a beer or not if it's not Las Vegas. I think that's lots of fun. So that's something that I'm actually planning to do.
Yeah, and I will probably join you. I missed it in Vegas this year, and I'm still kind of kicking myself for it.
The One Ring card? Guy's in a box with the One Ring, and he's just like... Oh, yeah. It was freaking... That was a funny one. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, continuing.
Anyways.
Today's topic.
Wait, we've got last week's giveaway.
Oh, last week's giveaway.
We didn't do it yesterday.
We did not.
Because we got the bonus show today.
We do.
Yeah, so...
Here we are.
Fuck. It's just a reflex, man. It's right here. It's right
sorry.
here.
Oh, that was funny.
You can't edit it out because we're on video.
That's right.
Frick. Okay. Last week's hints, we're guessing the little cute guy that looks like Mumra from Thundercats.
Yeah.
This is Zoyowa Lava Tongue.
What? Is that the person they're guessing?
No, that's the card. Yes, that's the card.
What? Okay, now...
You just picked the picture. I wrote down the name.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Lots of people got it.
Zoyova Lava Tongue.
Zoyowa?
Do you think that they call themselves that because they're like one of those like people who eat really hot things and like their tongue is just made of lava at this point? Like,
I
it's
suppose.
Just handled so much
maybe.
spicy shit?
I don't know the story behind it
Wouldn't
or
that
the
be
cultural significance behind it
Wouldn't
either.
that be just the worst mutant power of all time? Oh, my mic just floppy dinked itself because I touched it. Oh, look at that. Look at it on YouTube, which you should be. But, I got it.
Okay, don't touch it again.
I'm not going to touch it.
That probably
again.
sounded so terrible.
Probably did. But if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, you would see how ridiculous it looked. This mic sucks.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to bring a screwdriver like it's my freaking job. The shelf out there sucks too, by the way.
Of course it does.
I need a multi-screwdriver because they got different ends.
Sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways,
yesterday.
last week's winner.
Last week's winner, Lava Tongue.
Win in the booster pack game by leaving a comment on the CCO pre-show. You should do that because
fun.
It's fun.
You get to play a game.
And you win free stuff.
Guessing games are fun. And then when you win, which you will, you can send an email to commandercookout@gmail.com and you can tell us whether you want the stickers or the tokens or the regular old skanky back of magic cards. I don't know why you'd want that, but you can have one of those three things. Hit us up with your name and your address, including your postal or zip code, and we'll send that crap off to you. And then you're going to have them to hold and enjoy and all that stuff.
Couple funny things.
Tell me.
A skanky pack of magic cards?
I said it.
Is that stinky and crappy?
Yes.
And also hook us up and hit us up?
Oh, that was me misspeaking. But also, yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So at Judge Canada, whoever you are, because that's your YouTube handle, and I don't know what your real name is, hit us up. You're the winner.
Yay.
Woo! Yeah,
Yay.
Go you. Go you. Also, F you for playing.
Yes, F you for being here, yes.
Okay, so revisiting planes.
Here's why we're talking about this
Hit him
today.
up with the truth, Brando.
So, Ixalan was everybody's pumped about Ixalan. I'm not here to dump on anybody's fun. I think it's neat too.
Yeah, I really liked it, and you had some very positive things to say, along with some general criticisms of every Magic set like we have. You can listen to it all in our review.
Yeah, as you have of every set, there's always something to critique about it because nothing's perfect. Here's my thought on Ixalan overall. If you take out all of the fancy arts and all that stuff, it feels a lot like the first time we went to Ixalan. Like
jungle, dinosaurs, pirates, and vampires trying to get into temples.
And there's merfolk. And there's a bunch of... Right? Like, it's not a carbon copy of the exact same set, but it kind of is.
And I think my thoughts on this during the review were, it feels like there's lots smushed in here. Mm-hmm. And all the things that are smushed into one set are the same things that were smushed in last time, where it wasn't very well received for different reasons. But also this time, there's like this Temple of Doom exploring Indiana Jones kind of theme that we kind of got off of Zendikar a couple times as well.
Yeah, and it just, I don't know, like did it hit super hard? And I know some people really liked what they did here, and that's super cool.
I like the set.
Yeah, I'm so pumped that people had all the stuff to look forward to and they felt represented and seen. That's always important. But I think the fact is, mechanically, I feel like this was kind of just a retread of the first time we went to Ixalan. It's got the things that flip over into lands, which I enjoy. But again, here we are doing the same thing again.
Yep.
It's got big dinosaurs that do stuff. It's got pirates that do stealing stuff.
Yep.
It's got merfolk that do draw cards, put land simic stuff.
Yep.
And what was the other thing that they had? Vampires that do get bigger when they do damage stuff.
Yep.
Right? And
this time we had Cascade, sort of, which I appreciate.
Sure, some of the new mechanics minus whatever the hell that one you're talking about.
Discover.
Felt kind of lazy to me. Even Discover felt a little lazy. It's just fixed Cascade.
It's ETB Cascade instead of Cascade.
Yeah, Cascade.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's cool. Like I played with it at the pre-release and it's really neat and I enjoyed it. But it felt a little lazy. And the simile I draw, and this might make me vastly unpopular on the internet, is all the times we've been back to Ravnica, where Ravnica is the same set every time. It's 10 two-color guilds that fight against each other.
I don't think that's a simile.
Whatever. Where it's just, it feels very samey. And while the guilds always, they're not doing the same thing. It's not like every one of them you have.
Yeah.
But like Demir's the mill color. And
yep.
Gruul kind of has big stuff and creative things. And Rakdos
Golgari cares
itself,
about the graveyard. And Rakdos is a bunch of psychos. And
is
Boros,
Spellslinger stuff.
Boros is the attacky guild. Yeah. So every time we go to Ravnica, during Ravnica City of Guilds block, and then return to Ravnica block.
Yep. And then return to Ravnica.
And then
War of the Spark, I think.
War of the Spark, but it was Ravnica Allegiance and
they just
the other one. What is it? I have it up.
It doesn't blow me away when we go back to a plane like that because they're cool and they're fun sets, but like do they innovate past? Should we just go to somewhere else? Like, could we go somewhere new and do something exciting that way?
Guilds of Ravnica.
There we go.
They were just like, we're doing guilds.
They didn't even try.
You already know that we're doing this.
Yes, we were doing guilds the whole time, but now we're going to tell you. We're not even going to try to make it like we're not.
Yes.
And I guess I just thought it would be interesting to have the conversation. Like, do we like when we go back to, when we revisit popular planes?
Well,
do they explore a bunch of new ground when they go back? With Ravnica, I would suggest that they do not. With Ixalan, I would suggest that they do not in terms of art direction or story progression. Maybe there is, but like in terms of just like tertiary, like here's what it looks like.
Not being very entrenched Magic story buffs. I don't think that you or I could speak to that with any
no. But being just people who read flavor text and look at cards.
Yeah.
Like, all the Ravnica sets look the same. Both the Ixalan sets look the same.
Yeah.
Contrary maybe to that would be, what's it called? We were just
Kamigawa and then Neon Dynasty.
Yeah, Kamigawa, super different. Because you have like ancient, like ninjas in Japan to like cyberpunk super duper city.
Yeah.
Those did not feel the same, but they were the same.
Yeah. Okay, I got two things before we move too far past sets looking the same. There is something to be said about X thing being a popular thing and then going and doing it again.
Yeah.
That's a definite marketing strategy.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
And if there's more design space that they either discovered or intentionally left to go back to, going back to that and giving us more of the same feel and mechanics and look, both the look mechanically, the look actual visually, the flavor, the maps, the lands, the temples, the dinosaurs. Yeah. Those are all things that people like.
Hell yeah, they are.
And that is, again, why I think that Lost Caverns Ixalan is a cool set, because I like that setting.
Yeah.
And I do like the presentation of it, even more since I looked like in Vegas at the preview panel and I met some of the world builders and designers for the set backstage after like the preview panel, and actually talked about kind of their culture that they poured into this set. Like, we're not saying none of that. We're not saying that doesn't matter.
Hell no.
You're saying that it feels the same as it did before, despite the changes that they made, either mechanically or story-wise, to fix it. I'm saying having all of it back again feels squished. Yeah.
I just want them to break new ground. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
think the one that I look at kind of, especially visually, would be Eldraine. It went from like the very whimsical, hand-painty, fairy tale-y castles and Shrek.
Yeah, that was when we were in with all of the humans and the nobles, and we saw it from like the very known fairy tale standpoint.
Yeah, and then when we went back to the wilds of Eldraine, right in the name, now you're out in the backwoods.
Yes.
You're in the real pretty shit now where there could be a troll in every tree, or every tree could be a troll.
Or every tree could be a troll that's actually made out of candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I thought that's a good example.
Yeah, and it felt different while it was still the same. And I know that Aaron Carrar really liked Eldraine.
Yeah.
And I know that he was really excited about the return in that way. And I feel like it serviced that crew who wanted to go back to Eldraine and do it again.
Yep.
But for people like me who always kind of want to see like what's the new thing, what's the new direction you're going to try, especially artistically, they did that as well, and I think they did it very well. Kamigawa is another good example where it felt like an entirely different world with just some names that we knew from before.
Yeah.
And I think that we talked off the air when we go back to Zendikar both times. Like we did Zendikar with the I shouldn't say with the Avatar-esque everything because Avatar lifted it from Zendikar, I think.
Well, they didn't. But
I'm going to say they fucking did.
I really think, okay, this is the evolution of the conversation is that going back to the same place for an actual very different and or right-hand turn and or completion in the story feels like a different reason to go back.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with having the same setting and characters and obstacles, challenges, visual look, mechanical feel of the game. I'm okay with that if it's very evident where the story is happening and how it's happening. And I think that War of the Spark is an excellent way. Like, okay, we had Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance where it's like, oh yeah, this is Ravnica set 7 and 8 at this point.
Yeah. And
then War of the Spark happened and it's like, oh, this is what it's been about the whole time. And this is what Kaladesh has been about. Kaladesh is a great example of going somewhere new that feels totally different.
Hell yeah.
And then to bring Kaladesh to Ravnica with like the Aventers Fair and Tezzeret stealing the bridge and shit, and the Nicol Bolas, the oldest, longest time villain. Like, and I know I'm getting into the story of it, but the only reason I'm getting into the story of it is because War of the Spark, the set, did such a good job in telling the story. I know what the story is. And this is a good example of using the story to make the 9th fucking Ravnica set feel interesting and engaging and like it matters.
Yes.
That, and they gave us some really freaking good cards.
Yes. And the really freaking good cards, I think, might be kind of a bit of an aside in a lot of ways because, I mean, if you take the art off of a Magic card,
it still does what it does.
Right? But, so a lot of the setting kind of is important here. Like, let's just say, for an example, like if we went back to Kaladesh and it was another Inventors Fair and they had a bunch, you know, and it was just the same.
Yeah.
Right? But we're here again. Look. And there's a bunch of new keywords. Like, is that going to be as exciting as if they just took all that mechanical business and dropped it into the Wild West set that's coming out right away? Got him again.
Can't wait.
You know what I mean?
Can't wait.
Because they could very easily do that, where instead of just, hey, we're going back to Kaladesh because everybody loves Kaladesh and it's going to be kind of the same. Nah, we're going to put some Wild West skins on it and it's going to be the same but different because it's got cowboy hats now.
Yeah, old Magic cards with cowboy hats. Right? I can't wait.
You can do that, and that's really cool, and I would prefer them to do that, I think, unless they're going back for like a really good story reason or if they're going to break some new ground. I'd love to see them go back to Amonkhet now that Nick Bolas is gone. And
Hazaret's the only god that's left, and he beat it out into the desert, now he's going to come back. It's like 3,000 years later, and now he's like the god.
And like the plane's coming back to life, because it was a dead plane, right? Like it's dead, and you'd like to see that like come back to life, and all the kind of cool themes that could come from that.
We're potentially treading onto the 2024 look-ahead episode.
I know.
Frick!
But that would be cool, and I would love to see more of that sort of thing.
Yep.
Unless... here's that set that you guys liked before.
Again. As the Undertaker would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again.
So without getting too much into predictions, because later on in December, as we always do, we're going to do our year-end wrap-up, the year that was 2023, which which is always fun, like the successes, the failures, where we were fucking right and where we were wrong.
Yeah.
Which one of those categories is far bigger than the other.
Yeah, the right. Because we're always right. We're also going to do a thing where we're going to tell you everything that's going to happen next year.
And the year 2024 look ahead. That's my favorite one.
I like those
because
too.
just some of it's baseless speculation and some of it's like educated guesses because we're entrenched in the magic verse.
Yeah.
And
some of it's just stuff that we want. And sometimes we get it, like new Sol Rings and shit.
The Western set and the Universes Beyond stuff that's coming and just the predictions that we're going to see. Oh, man, I like that stuff.
I'm a fan of that.
Ah, man, I can't wait for this Western set.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not.
Nope,
I'm not
we can't get too far into it.
But off air, when I was getting a drink of water,
yeah, we're talking
man,
about
I was like, that this is going to be a card. You know that this is going to be a card. You know that this is going to be a card.
We're all pumped about it.
Yeah. Western set. And you know that they've been frickin' working on that Western set and brainstorming ideas to keep the cultural sensitivity around that genre.
Yeah.
You know that they've been working on that for like 10 years. So the set is going to be a banger.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Cowboy hats.
Oh, yeah.
10-gallon hat is going to be a card, man. That's going to be so good. So good. So good.
I'm not going to go into my predictions.
Okay. Back to going to new planes, old planes. Now,
Yeah.
Speaking of, the reason that Ryan speculates that we did not get a Western set back in the 90s is because it was difficult for WotC to get off of Dominaria.
They didn't have the creative kind of technology that they have now with planeswalkers and pre-mending, post-mending, and the bubble that they were trapped in, and Dominaria was where magic happens, blah, blah, blah.
So was Dominaria a set that ever got boring?
No, because it had so much like...
And was it not boring because it was like what we always knew and this is just what Magic was? Because we did do the first dozen sets, we'll just say.
Yeah, from 93 to 2002.
Yeah, like up to Time Spiral, everything's on Dominaria essentially.
Well, no, up to Mirrodin was our first one where we left.
Mirrodin
and that had a connection to Dominaria through Karn and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we had all these years, and Dominaria never felt old because, they gave us the Ice Age set, and they gave us different times in history. It wasn't all just one story. It was different times in history. It was different parts of the world over the course of dozens of novels and dozens of books and comics and sets and online stories. The world got deep and rich, and it felt real, right? And that's why when we went back to Dominaria in 2017,
It was such a big deal.
17 or 18.
Everybody was so pumped to go back.
Yeah, just before our inaugural trip to Ixalan,
Yeah.
which was great. We went to Dominaria, which was like the most popular set ever at the time because it got people back in. It's like, oh, look at all these
Returning characters.
ruins, places. It almost felt like Time Spiral, which was another popular set. But this was like a boiled down what's important version of Time Spiral, which felt like very matured and very like distilled down to all of the best things, with the best points in history being referenced from Dominaria, with all of our favorite characters from pivotal moments in Dominaria's history. Like, that's why the Dominaria set was so good.
And never did that set feel like they're taking Dominaria and going boop, and doing it again, which is great.
Yeah.
Right? They did something story-wise and creatively and throwbacks. They did just enough throwback
Themes
and just some
and
new
mechanics,
stuff
yeah.
to keep it fresh, even though the setting is not.
I suppose
important stuff.
when you have an entire like history worth of a world and you pick all of the best things and put them into one product,
It better be good.
that's gonna be good, right? Versus saying, here's in entirely the whole of everything we have of Ixalan. Here's everything we know. Let's take it, and it's like only this big,
Yep.
and let's just do it again. Yep. Even though since then we've added a world building team and we've created more depth, sort of artificially, but really it's all artificial.
It's artificial depth, yeah.
It's artificial depth, and again, not knocking it because I like the set and I appreciate having people from the culture that they're emulating being part of the design. I think
That's dope.
adds a level of realism to the artificial depth, though artificial it remains.
Yes. I wonder if the Duke is going to be involved with the cowboy set. No, he's dead.
The Duke?
I can never remember his real name. He was the guy that played Genghis Khan in that movie where everybody got radiation poisoning, and he was a cowboy, and he says,
what in the ass are you talking about?
what's his name? He's like the most famous Western actor of all time. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Is he the guy that does like the Dodge Ram commercials?
No, that's another guy whose name I can't remember.
Also a very famous Western actor.
Also starred in a movie called Frogs. That guy. The guy that Ryan's talking about, the guy I'm talking about was like, he's in every movie. You know this guy's name, and it's everybody is yelling and throwing stuff.
Clint Eastwood?
No.
He's in every Western
It's the
movie.
other Clint Eastwood. He's like the guy that came, he was Clint Eastwood before Clint Eastwood. Hey, we're going down to the thing, Pilgrim, and we're going to get into some fights with some people at Boot Hill. You bunch of fucks. I forget. That's just me talking.
That sounds pretty Clint Eastwood-y to me.
The point is, going places is dope. Are there any other planes that we've like kind of gone to? And I guess we did Crimson Vow, Werewolf Wedding, and was that a good one?
No, it wasn't.
Well, the sets were shit.
OG Innistrad was fantastic. It was our first real top-down tropey place that we got.
Everybody liked that one.
Innistrad OG, in 2012 or whatever?
Sure.
Was like, man, vampires versus werewolves, that's a thing I like. Like Frankenstein and Jekyll and Hyde and classics from literature that I know, even if I've never read them. I know what they are.
Those are things that I like.
Those are things that I like. Mm-hmm. And because they took the name of the card and then they, like Jekyll and Hyde, for example, and then they built a card around it.
It's a sucky card, but it was still cool that he had a card.
And I know exactly the trope, and I know exactly what it does and what it means and what it represents. Innistrad was fantastic. Yep. Fast forward to Crimson Vow, they tried to do something different, and it's like the Vampire Wedding with these characters that they've introduced over the course of disjointed products, like Commander products, and a return to Innistrad with the Eldrazi War that was in the forefront instead of developing like...
Is it a regular horror? It's cosmic horror, which is cool.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
That was neat.
Is it traditional classic horror trope, or is it like Lovecraftian cosmic unexplainable horror, which is not even really, I don't think, the original intention for the major Eldrazi when they were introduced in Zendikar. So they kind of repurposed this thing to build off of the success that they had at Innistrad, which is great.
If they didn't want them to be Cthulhu, they shouldn't have made them into Cthulhu.
And then we go back for this wedding with these characters that we got like in Commander products and on different planes, like Nahiri, and she's like trapped somewhere and fighting Sorin. Like what? I don't know.
Yeah, like
what is this?
And we're not, I should say, that into the story of that particular plane. So we didn't get it, and the cards and the setting didn't really do a good enough job explaining to us, A, why we should give a shit, or B, what the hell's going on. And then there was another werewolf set in there, too, that was also on Innistrad, and I don't even... I forget it exists
fast forwarding.
sometimes.
Okay, so we had original Innistrad, and then we had Dark Ascension,
right,
and then Avacyn Restored. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. There's a little arc there, like the zombies and the bad guys are taking over because Avacyn got trapped in the Hella Vault, and then she gets out and she like cleans house. Yep. That's kind of cool, and it kind of is, again, classic horror, kind of follows this Redeemer kind of arc where she saved like their religious figurehead saves their world.
Cool.
I think that's cool.
That's neat.
I think that's cool. That's something that people might be into, right? Yeah. And she's a freaking smoking hot angel.
And she's a babe, yeah.
And she's got to fight this demon who's got like a club for a hand. Grizzlebrand. Grizzleband. Man, I played one game against Grizzlebrand. I'm like, holy fuck, this card's good. 10 days later, banned.
Yep.
Anyways, then we got like Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon. That was the Eldrazi stuff where tentacles were coming out of everybody's everywhere.
I liked that one. That was cool.
Well, yeah, but that was the repurposed Eldrazi. Like, hey, let's keep using these characters so we can, right? Then we go Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt.
What even happened in Midnight Hunt?
What is going on?
Because Vampire Wedding, we all remember. What the hell happened?
What is even Midnight Hunt?
Like, why was it even there? Like, was that worth stapling Innistrad to? And if they didn't staple Innistrad to it, how much worse would it have done? If Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt weren't on Innistrad, would they have killed Magic the way that Kamigawa did? The first Kamigawa, when everybody was like, "Oh, fuck this game. This
Kamigawa sucks." Yeah.
Like, would people just have hopped in the boat and just sailed away, do you think?
You know what? Like, I look at this.
They weren't very good.
I look at this from a couple things. Like, we've mentioned mechanically or within the game of Magic. Then we've mentioned it from, like, the story perspective as well.
Yep.
Of course, they're trying to tell this vampire story with Crimson Vow. Sure. But we also need to service, like, zombies and werewolves and all the other monsters that people expect in Innistrad.
Yeah.
So we need, like, Midnight Hunt. It's like, okay, what's going on here? I have no idea.
I don't even care.
And I don't care because werewolves still suck.
Yeah. Day and night? Really?
Who cares?
Really? That's what you're going to do to us? Get fucked.
So that's an example of where they're trying to do the story thing and the mechanical trope flavor thing.
And not
failed
doing
on
it good.
both parts.
Yeah,
and then they're like, hey, you guys like black and white stuff too, hey? That's like classic 1920s horror cinema. You ever seen Nosferatu? It was like the scariest movie of all time in 1922. A, it was the only scary movie in 1922. It was fucking the only one.
Yep.
And B, no, we don't like black and white stuff.
No, especially when it's not new or designed to be in black and white and it looks terrible.
The stuff that's designed to be in black and white, I do love. And I like colorizing those.
I'm sure that's very fun.
I like that.
But let's remember that none of that art was meant to be in black and white.
Yeah, it's all just Xeroxed.
Yep.
That was your actual freaking review of it. Is it's just Xeroxed black and white eyed color art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not good.
Those were not very good at all.
I think I still got some of them in the stinky onion bag. Maybe the next person who wants a booster pack will get one of those.
Oh, actually, if you get a foil out of this, some foil rares from that are actually worth some dollars.
Oh yeah.
Foil Toxrill black and white, as shitty as it looks, $100.
What about a Snapcaster Mage?
Probably.
Does he come in foil in that set?
Maybe. I don't
Because
know.
they did like the silver screen. They even meant it to be like old school horror movies, right?
Yeah.
They were like, this is the silver screen edition.
And then it was all etched foil.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Man, what a failure that was.
Sucks.
What a failure as a product.
Etched foil.
What a failure.
Let's just
as
take a
concept.
minute and just make sure that everybody knows how terrible everybody thinks etched foil is.
Yeah.
And I've even heard some people say things like, etched foil's not that bad, or I like etched foil more than XYZ. You don't.
No, you're lying
or
to
you're just
yourself.
saying that and being untruthful,
Mm-hmm.
or you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to be wrong
Mhm.
when you listen and learn and improve your ways of thinking and articulating your thought through speech or writing.
Yes.
Etched foil sucks.
Sure does.
And we don't want to see any more of it.
Sure don't. Never again.
Sucky.
Never.
Sucky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm building decks the other day, right?
Ooh, okay.
Okay, I got the deck building bug,
yeah.
from people in the nation helping me with the new Calamax build,
Yep.
right? We've got some good suggestions. Keep them coming on the Discord. If you want to be a part of it, join our frickin' patron.
So you're
okay?
doing Calamax?
And Gwaihir and Gandalf and Dinosaurs Driving Trains.
Okay, that was
I got like 3 decks on the go, yo.
So Calamax is going to be like Calamax.
Yes.
And then you're going to take the Dinosaurs Riding Trains thing out of that, do
Yep.
its own thing, plus another Lord of the Rings deck.
Correct.
Holy shit.
Good guys. Gandalf and
Okay,
Gwaihir.
Gandalf, good guys. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Tough to find good ways to tap Calamax at instant speed without attacking. That's the challenge. Anyways, so I'm going through cards and I've got this stack of jank foils that I don't know why I have them. They're freaking foils.
Who are you, me?
They're just commons and uncommons and shit and just whatever. So I'm going through looking for this one random thing that I know that I own from 4 years ago. It's like, why do I have this? And I'm just flipping. And all of a sudden, just gray. Oh,
Must be at the Commander Masters.
Commander Legends. Commander Legends. And I'm like, these are so terrible. Not only were they gray, they were like taco shells.
Yeah.
But the inconsistency in how gray they are
Uh-huh.
also is cause for concern and complaint.
Yep.
So I'm flipping through and I'm like, Commander Master or Legends. And I get this one taco shell, Commander Legends, and I'm like, huh. Holding up two of them. And I'm like, this one still sucks, but it looks really good compared to this one.
And then you held it up next to a real card, and you're like, man, both of these suck.
And then I held it up to a foil from like Onslaught. And I'm like, wow, that was when foil was the shit. Yeah. Anyways. So where else do we go from here? We've had a couple instances of Dungeons and Dragons sets, which I know that you're a fan of all of them.
Sure was.
But Forgotten Realms, I think, much better and more well received than what is it?
Baldur's Gate.
Battle for Baldur's Gate. And I think that's compounded by the fact that Battle for Baldur's Gate was marketed as Commander Legends 2.
Yeah.
Which was different substantially than actual Commander Legends.
Yes.
Right? So is that a successful way that you think that they should do it again and it was just the product that was bad? Or was the implementation of Commander Legends 2 just poor?
I think the answer to that question is yes. And let me tell you why the answer to that question
is Brandoism.
Right? I think the implementation wasn't the greatest.
Okay.
Because they basically just added in a bunch of Commander stuff, increased the price of the packs. And
to a D&D set.
Yes.
Okay.
To a Dungeons & Dragons set. I think that they used the Dungeons & Dragons thing as an afterthought to try and cash in on one of their outside IPs.
That was successful the first time.
Yes.
Okay.
They were also using it to advertise for the new Baldur's Gate game, which...
Was that a thing?
Yep, and everybody's playing it now. Lots of people like it in the nation. I know that.
Okay.
So cool. I haven't played it myself. But the point is, I don't think that the set itself was fantastic. Although I did buy and open lots of it. I did enjoy the treasure hunt aspect of it.
Okay.
I don't think the set itself was that good. I don't think the implementation of the Commander Legends of it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a Legends set in any way.
No.
Right? And it didn't feel like it was meant to push Commander to the next level. It felt like they were just trying to... I don't even know what it felt like they were trying to do with that particular set. Because they immediately released another Masters set right after that had all the shit that should have been in Baldur's Gate in it.
Yeah, well, it was like 6 months after, but it was like actual Commander Masters where it was like, Jeweled Lotus was back and all of the Commander Andy Warhol things were back. Yeah. And...
Dockside Extortionist.
Dockside and Fierce Guardianship cycle was back. And it's like, okay, you could have put the D&D spin on these cards easily. You've got lots of very brilliant designers that you pay, I'm sure, not enough because you're a corporation and you're a fucking bunch of assholes. Yep.
And let's be honest, Dungeons & Dragons that's some deep shit, man.
Yeah, you could have put the spin on it and combined Commander Legends Masters, let's call those the same product slot, with your D&D thing that you were trying to hype at the time.
Yep.
And
because I don't know, are they even going to be able to go back to Dungeons and Dragons again because of kind of how sort of botched and cash-in-y Baldur's Gate felt?
Oh man,
because I would love to.
That's a good question.
That's one that I will, regardless of the entire last 40 minutes of conversation that we had. If we go back to the Dungeons and Dragons plane again, I'm going to be excited. And I'm going to buy in. And I'm going to get all the shit and be so pumped for it just because it's got a thing that I like connected to it.
It's the D&D thing.
But people outside of people like me might look at that and think, oh man, like Baldur's Gate was so not for me.
Yes.
Why are the packs an extra $2?
And that's
right?
the thing that's always the dichotomy that they play with. That's always the balancing act, right? Is some people love Kamigawa and the ancient Japanese art and culture and references. Some people love cyberpunk. Yep. And a lot of the times, those people aren't the same people, right? Really? Some people love Lord of the Rings and know nothing about Doctor Who. That's me.
Yeah.
Right? So you're never going to capture everybody. And I think the crux of everything that we're talking about today is we want, and I'll use the word complexity, but I don't mean complex mechanics like yesterday's deck tech trying to demonstrate cascade spells. I don't mean complex rules lawyer minutia.
Yeah.
And I don't mean 7,000 word essays on every single card in the set.
Also, yes.
What I mean is complexity like when I drink a fine whiskey. I want to taste different layers. I want a different smell and a different aftertaste or finish. I want it to be something that I can enjoy over and over and over again and discover new parts of. I want complexity in my world building, storytelling. I want diversity in my art and in my flavor text and in characters being depicted. I just want it to be creative and not lazy. I don't want it to be artificially inflated and then plucked up and then set back down and say, here's your new set. I want some kind of reinvention and some kind of way to demonstrate complexity just through the cards, like War of the Spark gave us, like Neon Dynasty gave us.
Yeah.
Storytelling through cards, like Tales from Middle-earth gave us, partly because I know the story, partly because I'm biased because it's my favorite thing.
What's the most recent in March of the Machines? Did the same thing.
Like March of the Machines told us the Brothers' War, and even if you didn't know that story, you hadn't read that book or whatever, you could say, what is March of the Machines, or what is Brothers' War?
Yeah.
Like, this is the product. What is it? You Google Brothers' War MTG, and you get the story on Wikipedia, and you can read it in 10 minutes. And it's like, oh, now I know culturally there's some significance not only to people who play Magic outside of the game, there's some meta significance, but there's also some in-world Dominaria and greater Magic universe significance to the Brothers' War.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the kind of complexity that I want. And I don't think that we're going to get that in a Western theme set.
No.
That's going to be top-down tropey shit like Innistrad.
Which is also great.
Also fucking fantastic,
Yes.
right? So I can't say that one is better than the other.
Because they're not. Because they're not the same thing.
That's right. I'm saying as a 20-plus year Magic player, I want complexities, callbacks, reach-arounds, things that are like, hey, this is a reference to this thing, this nugget, this thing. This is an ability like, don't bring banding back, but bringing Discover back so I can put it in my Cascade deck. Good.
Yes.
Bringing back the exact same dinosaur as I saw in Ixalan 1, not as good. Yeah. So I don't know. How do you feel?
If it's the same creature that says draw a card on it now, it's not. You're not doing anything new. It's still the 6/5 for green 4. It's the same thing.
When it dies, draw a card. Give me one of those. I'll put it in Lord of Tressorhorn.
But it's green. It's green. You can't, you fucking guy.
I know. I'll put it in Calamax. When it dies, draw a card.
I think that for me, I'm less in depth with my thought on it than Ryan is in this particular case, because I like to look at it as this is a thing that's in front of me and appreciate it for what it is. But I get my back up a little bit when I feel like the designers have been lazy in the aspect that, and this is it's just me talking.
They're not lazy. The perception through the product is it was lower effort.
The stuff that matters to me feels like there was less effort put into it. Like, and we'll use the Ixalan one again. It's like, here we have all the stuff from first Ixalan again with a beautiful coat of paint.
Ooh.
Because that's what it had. Like, all of the kind of accoutrement was great. There was like the art was cool, the throwbacks were neat, but at the end of the day, it's just here's dinosaurs and pirates and merfolk, and I can never remember the last one. I don't even care. There's 4 things that happen in Ixalan.
Did you say vampires?
Been there. Vampires.
Vampire. There it is. There it is.
And it felt like we just did it again, and I hate it when it feels like we're just doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a cash grab. And it's not like...
It's not a cash grab because the set is popular and it has all the things that people love. Yeah. Merfolk, classic.
Yep.
Pirates, something that we've been begging more for. Dinosaur, we've been begging for more dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We've been begging for vampires because it's one of the most popular creature types.
Yeah.
We've been begging for it.
And they're all there.
And it's like
there's so much stuff to like about it, but it just feels like...
Is this Uncle Brando having a first world problem?
Absolutely it is.
Luxury cardboard. We're allowed to have first world problems.
This is what it feels like to me. This Lost Caverns of Ixalan would have fit back in when they used to do the 3-card or 2-card blocks.
Blocks.
If they did Ixalan, Lost Caverns of Ixalan,
yeah, okay.
and then like collision of the sun, and there'd be the two where the inside sun and the outside sun lights touch tips, and then everything goes to shit, right?
Yeah.
That cool. But when you wait however many years it's been to go back to Ixalan, something on Ixalan should have changed. Something significant should have happened there.
Yes.
And I don't feel like it did.
I see what you're saying. Ixalan was, oh man, here's a time check. 6 years ago?
There we go. Like
right?
6 years
or 5 years ago?
And that could be decades or centuries
in
the story, and nothing changed. It's still
nothing visibly changed through the cards telling me what the story is.
I'm sure if I read the story, lots has changed. But as somebody who didn't and is not planning to, nothing changed. It's the same thing. And that's what gets me sometimes. And that's kind of what gets me to be like, oh man, I like, there's cards that I like, and I'm happy people have things that they like, but I just wish that they had pushed it. I'm not even sure what they could have done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a suggestion. Well, Brando, how would you have done it?
You know what?
And I don't particularly have necessarily that.
That's the thing about
like, let's say the vampires
criticism.
won, and the merfolk are rising up, and the dinosaurs have been enslaved, and they're like, with a Taligon, they don't have their like spiritual leaders. Like, but there could have been some kind of artistic or story-driven, just really simple visual cues you could give on cards that shows this is a progressed world. We've put time into this, and it's progressed.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we really got that.
And when we do criticisms, we always like to be solution providers.
Hell yeah.
Right? Like, this is a good thing that they could have done.
Go back to the set block system. I'd love that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, man.
In this case, I don't know if we need to provide a potential solution because the set's already out and it is received well and popular. And we're talking about it under this critical kind of eye, even though we fucking like it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you can criticize things you like. That's a thing. Just because I criticize something, it doesn't mean I don't like it. And I do like Ixalan. I do. I just wish they had given it a little bit more oomph so that it didn't feel so samey. That's my thought.
As a 20-plus year-old Magic player, Magic veteran, you want more complexity. Yeah. And not complexity in a novel, but complexity in I want to see a story develop when I play my cards. Yep. I think that after 20 years is the place where you find freshness and enjoyment and new when you play, right? Like, I love the Magic novels. They went away. I stopped reading Magic stories.
There you go.
Because I like the novels. So now I rely on the cards and the stories and the press releases to tell me the story.
And if they don't,
I don't know what the story is, right? And that, again, going back to War of the Spark, they did a good job with that, right? With this Ixalan, maybe we're frickin' wrong. And I'm always open to hearing that I'm wrong and why.
Oh, yeah. If I'm just talking out my ass.
If the world has progressed in Ixalan, there's the criticism. I like the set and the product, and I like the creatures and the aesthetic, but they haven't done a good job in conveying how that world has progressed.
Yeah. There it is.
And
if you disagree with us, let us know down in the comments after you've slapped the shit out of the like button.
Yeah, dropped your dino dink right on it. Whoosh.
Yeah.
That would not be what it would sound like. It would be more of a thwomp.
Well, we don't know. They might have a weird,
a flappy one. It looks like a pterodactyl's wing.
Or like a real, front heavy.
Or it has a claw on the end, like a raptor toe.
Yeah, maybe, or a cat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, cats and hyenas also have weird ones.
Oh. Okay, well, speaking of not weird ones, you should be not weird. Go to fusiongamingonline.com. Use any of our promo codes that can be found in the notes below, wherever you find the show. Get a discount on the stuff you're gonna buy anyways. Save money.
Also, check out Sidewalk Slam and hear about Pile of Bones, the second coolest thing to come out of Regina. And what are we going to do next week, Ryan? What are we going to do? Are we going to tech some decks?
I've got a deck tech prepared. We're catching up on Doctor Who, and we're catching up on Ixalan stuff because we've been hype training so long. We got some classic deck techs coming up from Patreon supporters. If you want to have your deck teched, check out the different levels on Patreon. Pledge at the appropriate one. Send us a list. Boom. That's the best way to get it done.
And we'll I think this one's going to be, I have a feeling from the title of the deck, it might be Grixis, and it might be me as the player of the deck,
Oh.
playing your stuff,
Oh.
which is one of my very favorite things.
Deep cut hint.
And you're going to hear lots about that on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!